Today, we're going to dive into a really powerful Japanese concept that might just change the way you look at your own life. It's called Oubaitori, and it's all about not being behind in life. But first, let me ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself. Do you ever get that feeling that you're falling behind? You look around and it seems like everyone else is hitting these huge milestones and you're just kind of stuck? If you just nodded your head, you gotta listen to this. That feeling, that anxiety, it's not a motivator. Not at all. It's a thief. It's stealing your joy and turning your life into this frantic race you never even signed up for. So where does all this pressure even come from? Well, it has a name, and it's pretty fitting. The tyranny of the clock. Psychologists call this the social clock. Think of it like this invisible script that society hands us. It's this unwritten rulebook that tells us the right time to do everything important in our lives. And you know the script, right? It's so specific. Graduate college by 22. Get that big promotion by 25. You should be married by 28 and a homeowner by 30. If you check all those boxes, hey, you're on track. But if you miss just one, that's when that awful feeling of failure starts to creep in. But here's the absolute truth, and I really want you to hear this. That script is a lie. It's a total fabrication. It treats us like we're machines on some kind of assembly line. But we're not. We're organic. We're human. And if you look at nature, nothing blooms at the exact same time. And that idea from nature brings us to a beautiful solution from Japan. It's a way to finally break free. Let's talk about the 4 trees of Oubaitori. Oubaitori, it's this wonderful Japanese idiom. And the word itself is actually made from the characters for 4 different trees: the cherry, the plum, the peach, and the apricot. And here's the key. They are all beautiful, they all bear fruit, but, and this is the important part, they never ever bloom at the same time. Just take the plum and the cherry trees. The plum blossoms really early. It's one of the first signs that spring is on its way. The famous cherry blossoms, they come later. Is the plum early? Is the cherry late? No, of course not. They're just following their own internal rhythm. They trust themselves. To really get this, we have to completely reframe how we see our lives. It means we need to start seeing life as a garden, not a racetrack. Think about the difference there. The racetrack view puts us all in the same lane, running against the same clock. It turns every single person into a competitor. But a garden thrives on variety. Different flowers need different soil, different amounts of sunlight, and they all bloom in their own perfect season. And that's exactly why comparing ourselves to others is so destructive. It's like you're comparing your chapter 2 to somebody else's chapter 10. It completely ignores all the context. You have no idea what kind of soil they started in, the storms they had to weather, or what they sacrificed to get where they are. Okay, so for anyone who's still a little skeptical, who still thinks that social clock is real, let's just blow up the myth of being behind with some real-world proof. Just look at this. Stan Lee created his first massive comic book hit when he was nearly 39 years old. The iconic designer Vera Wang didn't even get into the fashion industry until she was 40. And Colonel Sanders, the guy who started KFC, he was 62 when he franchised his first restaurant. Were they failures at 30? No way. They were just on their own timeline. 62. Just let that number sink in for a minute. Think about it. If Colonel Sanders had tried to force his success at 25, he wouldn't have had the decades of experience he needed to build a global empire. His long winter was absolutely essential for his incredible spring. So this all sounds great, philosophically, right? But how do we actually put this into practice when the world is constantly shouting at us to compare ourselves? Well, let's talk about how to tend your own timeline. Here's a super simple, really powerful little action you can take, like today. I call it the social media purge. Just open up whatever app it is that makes you feel that I'm behind anxiety, scroll until you find one of those accounts, you know exactly which ones I'm talking about, and then just mute them. You don't have to unfollow or be dramatic, just silence the noise. Because when you're constantly staring at other people's perfect highlight reels, you're basically using your energy to water their garden instead of your own. When you mute that noise, you reclaim all that mental energy so you can finally focus on yourself. You can actually start to hear your own rhythm again. And all of this, it leads to a much deeper truth. At its heart, Oubaitori is really about self-acceptance. You have your own specific nature, your own unique strengths and weaknesses. The world doesn't need 8 billion cherry blossoms. It needs you. It needs your variety. Fighting who you are only leads to suffering. Accepting who you are, that's when you finally flourish. So I want to leave you with this. Let's try to make a shift in our thinking. Let's stop asking that painful question, why aren't I there yet? And start asking a much more powerful, much more helpful question. What does my tree need right now? Maybe it needs more water, maybe more sunlight, or maybe, just maybe, it just needs a little more time. Please remember this. You are not behind. You are exactly where you need to be on your own path. Your timeline belongs to you and you alone. It is unique, it is valid, and if you can just be patient with yourself and stop comparing, your time to bloom will come. And trust me, it is going to be absolutely worth the wait.